something like 92% of Americans cannot skip a paycheck. Isn't that awful?
That's horrific is what it is.
Just think about walking in their shoes for half a minute. You're listening to Titans of the Trades. I'm your host, Ryan Englin, author of Hire Better People Faster and creator of the CoreFit hiring system, a proven process to help growing companies attract and retain only the best. I'm on a mission to revolutionize the perception of the trades and elevate it to new heights. After growing up in a blue-collar family, my passion for making the trades cool again runs deep. If you're a titan in the industry and want to be on my show, stick around until the end and I'll reveal how you can be my next guest. Welcome back to another episode. I am your host, Ryan Englin, and this is Titans of the Trades. Today's guest, if you're struggling with salespeople, if you're looking for someone to get out there and really help you grow your business, today's guest is a wealth of knowledge around attracting, hiring, and motivating salespeople, because we know that even good salespeople need a good motivation every once in a while. Brian Hurd, he's the SVP of National Builder at Cardinal Financial, and he has been growing sales teams for most of his career, and he knows exactly how to motivate them. So if you've been struggling with this, get ready to take some notes. Great insight into this, as well as learning a little bit about what's going on in the housing market and how that's impacting our ability to hire in the trades. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ryan. Good to be here. I've been looking forward to this.
I have too, and I had no idea how much we would have to talk about.
That's right. We've already spent about 30 minutes before you even hit record. So yeah,
we got to hit record and get some of this value out to our listeners because my gosh, you are a wealth of knowledge. Tell everybody a quick little bit about you. I know you're incredibly passionate about some things in the building space, so by all means, share that as well. And then I think we're gonna have a great conversation about sales and everything else. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a real quick blurb. So I run the builder division at Cardinal Financial. Been here a little over a year. But I've been in the mortgage industry since 2003. I am the son of a home builder, so it's been in my blood for years and years and years. I worked on a lot of crews, everything from a day laborer to a carpenter and all that kind of stuff everywhere in between. But I went down the financial path, and about 2008, I focused exclusively with home builders, and then really for the last 10, focused my effort on growing teams, coaching, mentoring, creating strategic alliances, that sort of thing. And I love what I do.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if all of our listeners know, but I spent about a decade in the mortgage world myself. Yeah. Got to see the ups and downs, made it through the 2007-08 because I started in 01, and the world has just changed so much since I left.
Especially the last few years, yeah.
Oh my gosh. You know, I think the one thing COVID did for us, good and bad, double-edged sword on this, but I think one of the things it did was it let employees and job seekers know they have options, that they don't have to have this mentality of, oh, they say they're going to take care of me, so I can trust that they're going to take care of me.
Which happens too much, or everybody says they're going to, but are they really going to? Yeah.
And the fastest way to rip that Band-Aid off is to divide them into essential and non-essential employees.
That's one way to do it.
Oh my gosh. Like that is one of the worst things we ever did. Yeah. I would call that a marketing fail, but it did. It let people know, hey, you know what? I can go get paid for my efforts. I can go, the harder I work, there are opportunities now for me where I can go get paid for how hard I work. And for the guy that doesn't want to work too hard, that's okay.
And if that divide has really been made so much more obvious as well, because I think it's a matter of those that do want to wake up early, get to work. I always say, when you really love your job, you want to run to the coffee machine, get your first cup of coffee and get to work. But it's also shown the ones that really don't want to. And, that's okay. We won't disparage that side. But the ones that are the go-getters, that has been made plainly obvious.
I think one of the biggest challenges I'm seeing, though, is that most employers don't know how to deal with the go-getters. Like they're scared of the go-getters. They're like, if I give them too much, they're going to get up and go. And so they've been very slow to adopt that kind of mindset for those people that really want to give it. They don't have the, hey, if you're a go-getter, we have an opportunity for you. If you're not, we have an opportunity for you.
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is if you are, it should be, at least in my belief, and the way, I try to coach and mentor and guide our teams if you are the go-getter, if you're the one that's getting off your rear, getting out there every day and going after it. In fact, I do a master class where a huge part of it's predicated on that. Those are the ones, Ryan, that I will fight tooth and nail for. Those are the ones that we will, not only help them with their existing opportunities, but create new ones and plug them into it.
I've got a client right now that's looking to hire a salesperson. And the guy that actually came to them, which is part of our process, like get them to come to you and say, hey, I love what you're doing. I want to be a part of it. And they're like, well, here's the compensation package. I want to pay you this base and this small little piece. And he just said, stop. He goes, I want in on the upside. Get rid of the whole base. I want in on the upside. My client calls me and goes, what should I do? I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the guy you want to be talking to.
Yeah. So right? Celebrate, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, maybe I should talk to a few more people. I'm like, no, because this guy's going to write his own ticket with you or someone else.
It's a really, I mean, have it, and it doesn't happen often. It does happen, because the ones that, and it's always the ones that need the highest base, the longest guarantee, all of that you have to worry about the most. Because hey, if you're telling me, in our space, if you're doing $2, $3, $4 million a month in loans, but you need a guarantee of $5,000, $10,000 a month, whatever it is, okay, well something's not jiving. I get that there's a ramp up period, but something's just not jiving.
Yeah.
Either you're not quite doing that much, or you don't have enough confidence that we're going to help you sustain that. Either way, something's wrong.
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, it's one of the things when I first started doing this, I was like, you know what? We help with every entry level position, every frontline employee position, except for salespeople.
Yeah.
And then I realized salespeople are very unique. Like the way you attract them, the way you
100%.
keep them, the way you engage them is completely different than the way you do a crane operator or a foreman,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
In construction. But they're just driven by something different.
Correct.
Like same
Well, you have
needs,
to tap on what
people,
that is. You have to tap into what actually motivates them. Some are pure competition. Know a lot of LOs. Hey, I just want to be the best. I mean, the collateral benefit, of course, is a nice paycheck, but they want to be at the top. Others, hey, I want to help as many families as I possibly can. And then, there's quite a few that, hey, I just want to make as much money as I possibly can. With all of those, it's the ones that I just kind of want to eke by. I'm fine. I'm comfortable. I struggle with that.
Yeah. We joke about we're starting to talk about Gen Z a little bit more, but we still have all the millennial jokes, right? Even though they're in their mid 40s now with families and careers and all that. But,
that makes me feel old, but yeah.
But it's that joke like, hey, if I still have money in my account on Sunday night, I'm calling in Monday.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Like that mindset I struggle with.
I struggle with. Yeah. I mean, I worked, especially, I guess being in the financial industry, and I think even guidelines say you may need no reserves, you may need 2 months reserves, whatever. If I don't have 12 to 24 months reserves in my bank account, I'm stressing out. But that's just not something that's taught because most people try to get by, with the bare minimum, except for the ones that are highly motivated, except for the ones like one of your partners came across, the one that said, hey, you know what? I don't need you to give me a security blanket. I just need you to help me grow and grow and grow and add and add and add and add. Yeah, those are the ones that are pure joy.
And that's the thing most people don't understand is that the number one thing the modern workforce wants from an employer is training and development, whether that's personal, professional, whatever that is the number one thing they want because they know that if they are to achieve more, they have to be responsible for it.
Correct. But, and the ones that want to continually grow and hone their craft and say, hey, teach me. And it's not, for me, it's not that I'm any smart. Well, sometimes I'm smarter than some of our LOs, but predominantly it's just because I live in this space every single day. I might know something about how to work with home builders. They go, hey, teach me everything. And incidentally, every top producer that I've ever worked with, they've had that healthy concentration of builder business, and they're always in the top of the top. So those are the ones, those are the ones that we can work with. But I do think, Ryan, that a lot of companies don't do a good enough job of, they say, hey, we're going to throw bodies out. We're going to bring in what we need more sales. Let's go hire more people. But what are we actually doing to grow the people that we have already?
Yeah.
And that does a couple things. I mean, it helps our total volume, but it also makes them sticky to us because that's a big problem. You pay all these bonuses and all that kind of stuff that a lot of companies do. Loan officer or whoever comes on, any sales position comes on board, and then bright, shiny object comes in, somebody comes in and tries to recruit them away. Well, if we're actually pouring into our people every day, every week, every month,
They're not paying attention to that.
yeah, they're not. They're paying attention to their business, which
Yeah.
they're seeing precipitously grow because we're developing them.
Yep. Yeah, I talk a lot about the problem that we have in the trades right now about there being this labor shortage, which I
Yeah,
fully believe is a myth, and I have the data to support that it's a myth. It's great talking points. It sells
yeah,
newspapers and clicks
yeah,
and all of
yeah.
that. What we have in the construction space is a marketing problem, number 1. But more important than that is we have a training and development problem.
That's
We
a
have no
interesting
problem
thing.
teaching
Yeah,
them the skills that
yeah.
benefit us,
Mhm.
but we have a real problem teaching them the skills that benefit them.
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah, yeah,
And until we decide we're going to fix that, that's why I think the trades in general has such a labor crisis on their hands because we want that guy to do it. It's their responsibility. The union should be doing more
yes.
apprenticeship. The big guys that are billion-dollar brands, they should be training all. No, 90% of the trades is made up with small contractors.
Well, and I think the same thing. I mean, again, I'm on the mortgage side, so it's the same thing is systemic in our industry. We say, hey, go to that coach, go to that summit, go here, go there, go everywhere, and that's fine. But I think what we genuinely lack, and what I'm a huge believer of, is roll up your sleeves and go out there and work with your people. Like the stance I try to take, and it didn't happen overnight. It was terrible. I had to really grow into that kind of. I used to be a manager type, and now I believe I'm leader. But it's not, hey, Ryan, here's all the cool tools. Here's all the things that we can do. Here's all the guidelines and whatever it may be. Go out and do it. Go out and do your job. That's not really teaching them. I think what I try to do is say, hey, here's all the really cool tools. Here's all the things that we can do. Here's how to do it. Here's all the resources. Let's go out and do it together. Because I think
Mm,
if you're able to pour that time into them, then they find that, yeah, I think short term, yes. Are you going to have to invest more time? Absolutely. Regular, 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 consistent, consistent, consistent. But the long term, once they realize how to do their job at their peak performance and they take that constructive criticism and development and accountability, long term, it's almost on autopilot. Now, that said, you always have to stay connected to your people. But
yeah.
I just feel like we need to, as leaders and coaches and mentors and all that, we need to be more side by side rather than saying, go out and do it. And then, eating grapes, drinking wine in the ivory tower and collecting your annuity. That's just not the way it works, at least in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you said something I thought was really important was time. And I think we are in a world right now where we are more connected than we've ever been, and
Yes.
we are lonelier than we've ever been because
Yes.
we are
Yes.
not spending
Yes.
time. It's you get 6 seconds for me to like your video or your post or a text message with thumbs up and party supplies. We do not know how to do human connection anymore. And when you spend time with your people like what you're talking about, you create that relationship.
I think
And
that's, yeah. Yeah.
that
I think,
that relationship, they're not gonna sell out that relationship for $1 more an hour or a $10,000 signing bonus because they know
no.
the odds of them getting that again is so small.
I love that you brought that up. So, I'm in one of those unique positions because we're national. Cardinal, our builder division at Cardinal Financial is national. So we have branches all across the country. We're licensed in all 50 states. Uh, in the mortgage industry, you're absolutely right. Especially, and COVID made it even worse, is it's so easy to do a Zoom call. It's so easy to do a phone call. It's so easy to send a Teams message or something like that. But as I travel, and I'm in Pittsburgh today specifically for that, being out in the field, I think is critically important because what I'll do is I'll talk to loan officers and they go, you know what? I love this, but I feel disconnected or I feel like I'm on an island. You can't have that, So even though we are like most mortgage companies they're all virtual branches now. A lot of people have home offices or they're very decentralized. And a lot of sales, a lot of industries, period, are. We have to make sure we're touching on their people, whether they're at a job site across town or whether they're at their home office halfway across the country. Sometimes that's just it's not rocket science, but hey, how are you doing?
Yeah.
What do you need? What are your biggest challenges and how do we overcome them together? And it's
Yeah.
not like you have to do it all the time, but it's so impactful, Ryan. We just don't do it enough.
I have guy I used to know, every time someone said, "How you doing today?" his response would be to smile and say, "Awful." And so many people would just say, "That's great." And he's like, people don't even listen anymore,
They
right? Like,
don't.
they
And
just
you have to be
don't.
prepared for the awful part. And sometimes that means you're a junior, Fisher Price, my first psychologist or something, listening to what their challenges are. But you have to be prepared for that. And you have to create enough of a comfort zone. And I believe it's just, keeping it real, so to speak, that they feel comfortable saying, hey, I've got this challenge. This is a real problem. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, and especially if you're going to do it all over Zoom or whatnot, nobody's going to speak up. Nobody wants to be the one guy that's got the issue. And that's where I think one-on-one, specifically one-on-one or two-on-one, whatever it is.
Because we're so busy, it's a group huddle. Hey, let's all
Yeah.
hop on Teams or Zoom real
Yep.
quick. It's a group thing. There's none of that one-to-one
Right.
connection. We talk a lot about the idea of trust in the workplace. And we don't trust each other anymore. When you divide people and you furlough people and you lay people off, it's really hard to trust your boss when they don't understand that, what is it, something like 92% of Americans cannot skip a paycheck?
That's
Like,
painful.
isn't that awful?
That's horrific is what it is. And that's a
And if we
breakdown
think
on
about that, and not like where that's coming from, but just think about walking in their shoes for half a minute. If they miss one paycheck, they can't pay their bills. Not they don't get to go to Starbucks and they have to cancel their vacation.
Yeah.
Like, they can't pay rent. They can't put food on the table. 92% go 1 month without a paycheck. They're done. And it's really hard to trust your employer when employers are very much, oh, it's a little tough for us right now. See ya. Or, hey, you know what? You're a little bit more work than I think you should be. See ya. And we're so fast to dismiss. And, on the other side of it too, we're also very bad at bringing someone brand new to the team and saying, we're really glad you're here. It's, oh, you're a new cog in the machine. Go for it.
Now go out and do
And
it.
that's it.
And
Like,
we might
that
talk again in
personal
90
connection's
days or
gone.
something like, yeah. And I think it's not a snap your fingers type solution. And it's not saying, hey, if you're not a productive employee, if you're not motivated, if you're not passionate, whatever your motivator is, it's not to say that, hey, we can just keep everybody around. We can't. It just doesn't, it's not realistic. But I think that if it starts from the very beginning, you kind of mentioned bringing people on board. Okay, let's make sure we are a good fit mutually. Let's hire somebody. Hey, I want to make sure we're a good fit for you, and vice versa. And I love things like, involving a spouse and whatnot, because this is a life decision. But then it comes development. Okay, if I am going to invest the time, if we're going to have our recruiters invest the time, if we're going to have all these people bringing somebody on board, why would we say, hey, just go out and do it, and we'll see you in 90 days? No, we need to be developing these people and working with them and communicating every single week, because what's the alternative? We got to start the cycle all over again? Oh, let's be preemptive, proactive.
Brian, we have a pandemic on our hands. We always have enough time to do it over.
We do.
We never have time to do it right.
Yeah. But that's what we all have to change. And, and I am a firm believer, if obviously, again, you have to hire the right people. I don't believe in throwing bodies at the issue.
Agreed.
Pour into your people, because that's so much less expensive if you can pour into them having to rehire and go through, or hire new people and all the process that it goes through.
I was talking to a CEO the other day, that was a couple weeks ago, and he's like, they're like children. I go, yeah. I go, okay. So let's say that the people that work for you are like children. When my son was learning to walk, did I yell at him when he tripped? Or I come alongside him and say, hey, buddy, let's do that again. Did I encourage him? Did I motivate? I can't teach him to walk. All I can do is support him until his body figures out how to do his thing.
Yeah.
When's the last time you did that?
Yeah. That's such a good analogy.
And for him, he's like, well, they should just know better. They're grown-ups. I'm like, but you just said they act like children. So what if you just thought of them as children for a minute, not in a demeaning or condescending way, but just said, hey, maybe they need a little bit more support. Maybe they need a little bit more encouragement. Maybe they just need me to tell them, hey, you did great yesterday. But we have this problem, and I think this is beyond the trades. We have this problem where we're really good at telling people when they screw up. We are horrible at telling them when they're doing a good job.
Yeah. I agree.
I mentioned this about the sales piece. People are like, oh, why do salespeople need so much motivation? I go, because they just got the door slammed in their face 90 times yesterday.
Yeah.
You need to pick me up too.
And it's a personality type though too, because if you look at most salespeople, there's exceptions. I mean, I'm a high D personality, but if you look at most salespeople, they're high I personalities, and that's
Yeah.
okay. We hire them because they're high I personalities, and
Yeah.
other people they like that positive affirmation and all of that kind of stuff. And look, there's a big difference between supporting and celebrating, and mollycoddle. We don't need to. It's probably that word makes me sound old, but you get the point. We don't need to babysit, but yes, we need to say, okay, the best analogy I can do is, so you have those teachers in grade school, second grade, you had the one that marked all the check marks wrong. Here's all the red marks, wrong, 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 wrong. And then you have the really good teachers that go, hey, this is wrong, but here's the right answer, and here's how to get to the right answer. That's what we really need to be doing. And then when you do get that A, you go, hey, you know what? You did a really good job. So yeah, I think that's really important is positive reinforcement. And then when they're making mistakes, hey, it's okay. I mean, that's how we all learn. I've failed so many times in my career, but that's how you grow. Nobody that ever was successful didn't get there by being right 100% of the time. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. We got to wrap up the show soon, but hey, I want to talk about something that I know you're so incredibly passionate about, and I want to talk about it for just a minute because I need people to understand this. There are a lot of things that impact the workforce right now. A lot of things, the economy,
Yeah.
housing, a whole
Yeah.
bunch of things that are impacting. And one of the problems that we see companies deal with a lot in that I would say $30 an hour range workforce is that they're very transient. They come, they'll work here, they'll work there. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, throw out the resume. If they've been 6 different companies in the last year, do not assume that they're just going to do the same to you.
Yeah.
But you have to
Yeah.
understand where that's coming from. And we were talking just about the state of housing right now.
Yep.
And again, I think this goes to what we've been talking about, which is walk in their shoes for a minute, see the world through their eyes for a minute. Because everything you've said absolutely validates that we have to have empathy when it comes to our people, or we're going to lose them.
Correct.
And there's something going on in the housing market right now. And I know that over at Cardinal, you guys do a lot of work with builders on this. You're very passionate about affordable housing and being able to create opportunities, because when people don't have a stable home life, it's really hard for them to have a stable
100%.
work life.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
So I would just love for you to share just a little bit, just to paint a picture for our listeners. What's really going on out there, and what are some ways that they can get involved, or some ways that they can just start being a part of the solution instead of just saying, oh, well, it's this generation, because it's
Well,
not.
yeah, I think that's part of the challenge is we all like to talk about, hey, there's an affordability crisis, attainability crisis, and all that kind of thing, and not as much action. And look, I was one of those guys until I really started to dig into it. Not only did I dig into it, I got asked by an organization called HomeAid. They work with home builders to provide housing for the homeless. They asked us to do a podcast series on homelessness.
Mm,
And it was incredibly powerful for me, Ryan, because it talked about things like human trafficking. And look, I mean, we're both parents. It's scary as can be. And when I went into this podcast, look, I had a blessed childhood. I had parents around and had everything I needed and a lot of the stuff I wanted and all that. So I'm going into this thing completely blind and ignorant. No, that's okay. Just ask questions. And,
yeah.
I think the combination of learning about housing affordability and attainability and the crisis there and going through this podcast, one of the recurring themes was the amount of confidence that home ownership and having a home provides is so far beyond what we expect. I mean, things like going and getting a license, going and getting a bank account, doing anything. What do you need? You need an address. Well, if you don't have one, what does that do to you? So that really started my journey down to the kind of attainable focal point. And at Cardinal, yeah, I mean, a huge part of our focus is on manufactured, modular, that space. I'd say about half of what we do is really in that space. It's critically important. I think the biggest challenge I have in that space, though, or the industry, is that there's a stigma behind it. It's not stick built, it's built in a factory, or it's prefab,
Yeah.
whatnot. And we're really trying to break that whole stigma. And it doesn't hurt that if you can have a trade base that happens to work in a climate controlled facility, that's not necessarily a bad thing. We just have to learn. And I still have a huge soft spot for the site build space. That's where I grew up. That's my background.
Yeah.
But I think that we need to do a better job of saying, hey, there's a lot of need out there for attainable housing, that missing middle, so to speak, that the average middle income earner can't afford that we're building. So how do we provide really good housing at scale and realize that, hey, it is a really, really, really good product? And the other thing, you kind of mentioned it briefly earlier, one of the projects that one of the communities we're talking about, we have, in fact, I think at your own backyard, you've got really nice communities, really high expensive houses, but the workforce, the trades, the suppliers, all of that work to build those houses, they can't afford to live there. We have to do a better job to support that part of the population. And I think a huge part of that is providing attainable housing.
Yeah. We worked with a GC that was in the affordable housing space. They did multifamily affordable housing, and they opened my eyes to that world.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I want to say, and this is for everybody listening to this, is if you have a heart for it, just like Brian does, what I learned was it's not one player that's going to fix it. It is a
No.
community that comes
Correct.
around
Correct.
solving this
Correct.
problem.
Correct.
And that was something they exposed me to a few years ago. And I didn't realize. I just thought, oh, they're just building more apartments. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
There's the community that has to support it. And we can all do our part in that. Just like back to, we have a marketing problem in the trades. We have a marketing problem when it comes to accessory dwelling units and when it
Correct.
comes to
Correct.
manufactured housing and tiny homes. Like we have a marketing problem because there's that negative stigma associated with those things. But for the generation, especially the younger generation right now that is building their life based on experience and not based on assets like the older generations have, maybe that's all they need.
I'd love to see the industry. So I know that a huge part of your population is the trade base and whatnot. And I would love to see us do a better job of actually helping to provide housing to the people that are building the houses, and that's a long-term challenge. But I think that involves, hey, if you've got a carpenter or your concrete guys, whatever it is, your HVAC, your electrician, okay, let's talk. And I think that kind of goes back to, hey, let's find out what their needs are. Let's really dive into what are your goals? You and I were talking about our goals for the next 5 years. Are we doing that with the people that we work with and for? We should. We really should.
We have this process called the Growth Accelerator Program, and it's a 3-year personal development program, not professional. It's personal. What are your personal goals? You want to get out of debt? You want to learn how to balance your budget? You want to buy a house? You want to pay off a car? You want to start a family? Let's talk about those things.
And we need to dig into that more. Yeah, I need to find more about it because we did that years ago. I went through a program that analyzes all of your expenses. We like to think, okay, well, here's my car note, here's my mortgage, but not what I spend on Netflix, not what I do on Starbucks, not what
Starbucks bill. Right?
I have to spend some time digging into that because I think we need to. I love that you guys are doing that because without it, and I think there has to be good synergy between professional and personal. If your personal goals and personal finance situation isn't being considered by your employer or yourself, how can you be an effective employee on a professional level?
If we don't care about the things that are important to them, newsflash, it's not the business. They're not going to care about the business.
Yeah.
Many times owners like, I wish they would just care as much as me. I'm like, do you care that they're dealing with a kid that might be dealing with drugs or that their relationship's on the rocks or that they can't pay their bills every month? Because if you don't care about those things, you have no right asking them to care about your business.
I think that's important now more than ever. We're doing a lot, at Cardinal, a huge part of our focus is on technology and automation, which is critically important. But as the industry and all industries move towards that automation space, I think it's more important now than ever than realizing what's the human space and what are your motivations and what are your needs and what are your challenges and what are you going through? And again, not everybody's built that way. I get that. Not everybody wants to get touchy-feely and all that kind of stuff. I used to be one of those people. But from a financial and development standpoint, again, it goes back to pouring into your people. The more you understand them, the more they feel comfortable sharing, the stickier they are going to be with you when times get tough. Because look, we're in the home building industry, Ryan, you know that. I mean, it's not constantly going up. It's up and down and up and down. But what hits the fan, I'm going to stick around if I know my boss has taken the time to get to know me, kids, all of that kind of stuff. That's so important. I think it's going to continue to get more and more so.
Yeah. Brian, this is amazing. What a great conversation. We could probably keep talking for another hour or
Probably
two.
so. Yeah.
How do people learn more about what you're up to? Maybe they want to learn more about the mortgage world, or maybe they're a builder listening right now saying, hey, we'd love to create a partnership with you guys. How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say the best way I assume is, I know you guys are on LinkedIn and whatnot, just send me a message on LinkedIn. You can go to cardinalfinancial.com, but you can find me on LinkedIn. I try to be as communicative and prolific with my messaging as I can. I can talk builder, I can talk builder finance, I can talk mortgage all day long. So
You can talk salespeople.
I mean, that is a big part of what I do is we actually help our loan officers grow and we help our builder sales teams grow as well.
I love
So
it.
yes.
It's
So
fantastic. Brian, thank you so much. This has been awesome.
Likewise. Appreciate the opportunity.
Ryan Englin here. Thank you so much for listening to Titans of the Trades. If you're a titan in the construction, manufacturing, or skilled trades industry and would like to be a guest on my show, please visit podcast.corematters.com. If you found value in this interview, would you share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot on your phone and share it with a friend or post it on social. And if you know someone that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Titans of the Trades. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, click the subscribe button. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show and get me one step closer to solving the labor crisis facing the industry. Want to know more about how we're doing that? Go to our website or follow me on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening.